Welcome back to Just Books. There's been a steady stream of civil servants' memoirs in recent years, starting, of course, with Bhaskar Ghosh of the West Bengal cadre. Then we had Javed Chaudhry from Gujarat, who published his memoirs last year. Now comes a maverick's view from Punjab, Robin Gupta, whose book is called And What Remains in the End, the memoirs of an unrepentant civil servant. Robin, you had a very interesting 36-year-long career in the civil service. You started out as a police officer and then transferred to the IAS in Bengal. And then through a chain of circumstances, you in fact were removed first to Haryana and Punjab. Pretty exceptional, isn't it?
Absolutely exceptional, yes. I was very fortunate in one way.
You know, how did that happen? Because this kind of inter-cadre transition is relatively rare.
It's easier now, but it was almost impossible then. You could only get transferred on what is known as marriage grounds. When the spouse is from one cadre and the other one is from another cadre, then they go to the same cadre. In my case, it was on extreme compassionate grounds. I had a very old mother who should have been my grandmother, in fact. And there was no one else to look after her. The doctors had enjoined she couldn't live in the eastern area, eastern part of India, because of her severe asthma.
So that's why you transferred, but most of your district training was, of course, in Bengal, in districts like Siliguri, Darjeeling, Jalpaiguri, and then you had a long tenure in Delhi. When Rajiv Gandhi was Prime Minister, you were attached to the Sports Ministry,
yes.
In which he took a very deep and personal interest. What was that transition like from serving in the districts in Bengal to really the heartland of power in New Delhi under Rajiv Gandhi?
The government of India invariably is much better than the state governments. There's one reason that the secretary may be from Kerala, the joint secretary may be from Bihar, the deputy secretary from Punjab, and so on. So they're not supportive of each other in that sense. Unlike in the state government where everyone sort of dines and wines together. You have to be on your toes all the time.
Some remarkable pen portraits you paint of both your superiors and your juniors in New Delhi. For example, your secretary in the Sports Ministry was a remarkable South Indian. And you described scenes of such honesty and probity that here were people who were besieging him the whole time, indeed your department, for favors, for contracts in the Sports Ministry, for setting up NGOs, and how firmly, swiftly he dealt with them.
Yes, he was the rarest of the rare, perhaps the last of the vintage wine. But for that, in retrospect, I think he followed a very strict code of conduct in his personal life. He would wake up at 4:30, worship, sing the Rudra Veena, and was in office before everyone else. He would use the common bathrooms. He would run up the stairs. He would never misuse a staff car. He treated it as a job to be done.
As you say, the rarest of the rare.
The rarest.
And for being honest, you also paint a portrait of how this remarkable officer was victimized and shunted out.
Yes, he would give the correct opinion, notwithstanding any kind of caste affiliation. For example, Mr. V.C. Shukla at that time wanted to host the Commonwealth Games. He put it down, and somebody else, I think it was then now the present governor, Margaret Alva, she wanted to host the Commonwealth Games also. So he wrote on a file, let us put an end to this once and for all.